What the fuck is this shit? The Joe Rogan podcast. Joe Rogan podcast, check it out. Good job. Now let's do it. Hey, freak bitches.
Hello, freak bitches.
Hello, freak bitches. The Joe Rogan experience. Anybody do Joe Rogan podcast by night? Okay. Like, well, dirty jokes? Joe Rogan podcast, check it out. Joe Rogan experience. Day by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night. All day.
Hey, brother. Yeah, how are you, man? Great. It was nice to meet you at F1, and I really loved your episode of Sean Ryan. I fucking love that dude. Thanks, man. Yeah, Sean is the man. He's awesome. I love Sean. I'm so glad there's guys like him doing this. That there's more people like him that are like finding new ways to media it's so wide open now. Yeah. And it's not, you don't have to get hired by a television station anymore. You can just start your own shit. And Sean's show is fucking great. Yeah, he's great. I love him as a person. Yeah, I love him too. He's great. He's an awesome dude. And I loved you on that show, but god damn, man, that show was crazy. Like, your childhood was so nuts, dude. Yeah. Hearing about you living in a brothel when you were 12 years old. Yeah. Fuck, dude, your whole story was so nuts, man. I was listening to it in the sauna this morning, and I was like, oh my god. So I'm there cooking, 95 degrees, listening to you struggle. Yeah. I usually do 20 minutes, but I kept going. I'm like, this life is so fucked up. I feel like I shouldn't bail right now. I should keep listening. I feel like I'm not the only one. You know what I mean? No. I feel like where I was in the Army is full of guys just like that. 100%. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, and I think it's fighters as well. You know, a lot of fighters are like Sean Strickland, a lot of guys like that. Fucked up childhood. I think it gives you an extra gear. I think when you can get through a childhood like that, you got an extra place that you can go to that other dudes can't go to. In your line of work, that comes in great. Yeah, I think it works like this. I never heard it as an extra gear, but here's the way I always equated it. You know you're going to get a beating, and it's coming at 5 o'clock. you know after dinner they're going to be hammered, and this is another argument and fight, and it's a pattern, right? And you know this as a kid, right? And what happens is you got to take that beating and then like put your church clothes on. We're going to Philippines. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the truth is like
karaoke bitches.
I think my brother more than me, but I think my mom actually had him convinced that we were super bad kids. And like, you know, we were, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I was like, you know, like, you ever meet a actual bad 4 or 6 or 8-year-old? No. It's right. That's all. And then it was kind of like, I think it was an eye-opener for him, but like, it was always our fault. Well, that's the thing. You can convince kids of almost anything. You can convince them it's their fault. You can convince them they're bad kids, and then they feel bad for the rest of their fucking life. They feel like shit. Yeah. There's a lot of people out there that didn't do anything wrong. They just raised by shitheads, and for their whole life, they feel like garbage. Yeah. They don't know why. Yeah. It's so hard to snap out of that, too. And it takes something for you to do that makes you feel valuable and worthwhile. Like, you have to kind of like relearn who you are as a person. Yeah. Some people never do. Yeah. And then they, find meth or heroin or something that takes the edge away. Yeah. You can just exist. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, that was the Army for me. Like the first time I ever felt like I fit in. Or I was with people like me. Right. Was when I was in Ranger Battalion. Yeah. I think fighting is the same way. A lot of those guys, the only time they ever feel normal is when they're in a gym with a bunch of other savages. Yeah. It's like, guys who want to do that for a living, you know, generally something fucking terribly wrong happened when you were young.
Yeah.
That put this anger and this monster inside of you.
Well, I tell you, I tell people all the time, jiu-jitsu is my sanity.
Yeah. Jiu-jitsu is meditation, man. Because if you are doing jiu-jitsu, you can't be thinking about anything else.
Right.
So it cleans your mind up. You know, we were talking about, I think that's the same thing. I think it's in a different way. It's just, when you're doing that, it's so difficult. You can't think about anything else.
Right. I love when, I don't even care if I get or see an elk today. The places I go to get these elk,
Right.
I could just sit there all day anyway.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The fact that, like, one of these majestic beasts is going to walk 20 yards from me, fucking bonus. You know what I mean? Like, I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel the same about jiu-jitsu. You know, like, I always like in jiu-jitsu when someone does, like, what you call high-level jiu-jitsu to me as it's happening. Like, I don't care if you're smashing my fucking face. That was amazing. Are you kidding me? Like, let's take a moment here.
It's amazing that someone can do that.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I was first starting jiu-jitsu, I was like 30 years old, and I thought I was a badass. I had kickboxed, I'd won a bunch of taekwondo tournaments. I thought I knew how to fight. And I remember one day when I was a white belt, this purple belt just raped me. I mean, he was my size. This was what drove me crazy. He wasn't bigger than me. And he just destroyed me. Just did whatever he wanted. Triangled me, armbarred me, choked me. I remember walking out of there going, I can't, first of all, what a like shift of like who you are in the world. Knowing that someone can just do that to you. Not a bigger guy. Like someone your size can just, you're helpless. And then I remember thinking, I gotta get good at this. Like that, having that as a skill, that's like one of the greatest things you could ever have. Like, because that's what martial arts was supposed to be when we were kids. Like that the smaller person could beat the larger person just with technique.
Correct.
Until Horace Gracie came along, you never really saw that. The bigger guys always won. And then Horace Gracie all of a sudden killing people from his back. We're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
He's losing. He's not losing.
All of a sudden he's like, he's strangling something out with his legs. We're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I agree. I tell you, I met Hoyce, like we, you know, from the early days, we bring Hoyce, and Horian was actually the first Gracie I met before Hoyce, right? But we bring Hoyce in, and like watching these guys, like, you know, we get like 60 guys up on the mat, and this is hard to do, and this is a lot of guys because it's Hoyce, you know, and he would run through every dude.
Yeah,
every dude, and it was like not like it was a close match. It was like whatever dude from the default stepped in front of him was the 12-year-old child against the fucking an adult.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like he just fucking handled everybody. And I remember one of those times, he just fucking, I did something, and he cinched down on me like a spider, and I couldn't fucking move. And he goes, yes, I did not think of this. This is good move. And I was like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, you know what I mean? I wasn't even a white belt yet. He's just fucking me up, you know? But I knew, like, right then and there, I was fucking helpless.
Yeah, it's a
and
weird
like,
feeling.
and like,
athleticism, folks.
Unacceptable. You know what I mean? Yeah, right?
That's the
Unacceptable.
right word, yeah. You gotta learn this.
You gotta know something.
Unacceptable.
You know what I mean? And even back then, like, we were all boys. You know, because we were more Muay Thai. We would train a lot of Muay Thai, boxing, wrestling, a lot of wrestling. You know, before the jits, and like we would tell boys back then, as soon as you learn the punch, you are super dangerous. Which is, I think, where it is now.
This episode is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog. Dogs are amazing. They're loyal. They're lovable. Like just having Marshall around can make my day 10 times better. I'm sure you love your dog just as much, and you want to do your best to help them live longer, healthier, happier lives. And a healthy life for your dog starts with healthy food, just like it does for us. There's a reason having a balanced diet is so important. So how do you know if your dog's food is as healthy and as safe as it can be? Well, Farmer's Dog gives you that peace of mind by making fresh, real food developed by board-certified nutritionists to provide all the nutrients your dog needs. And their food is human grade, which means it's made to the same quality and safety standards as human food. Very few pet foods are made to this strict standard. And let's be clear, human grade food doesn't mean the food is fancy. just means it's safe and healthy. It's simple, real food from people who care about what goes into your dog's body. The Farmer's Dog makes it easy to help your dog live a long, healthy life by sending you fresh food that's pre-portioned just for your dog's needs. Because every dog is different. And I'm not just talking about breeds. From their size to their personality to their health, every dog is unique. Plus, precise portions can help keep your dog at an ideal weight, which is one of the proven predictors of a long life. Look, no one, dog or human, should be eating highly processed foods for every meal. It doesn't matter how old your dog is. It's always a great time to start investing in their health and happiness. So, try the Farmer's Dog today. You can get 50% off your first box of fresh, healthy food at thefarmersdog.com/Rogan. Plus, you get free shipping. Just go to thefarmersdog.com/Rogan. Tap the banner or visit this episode's page to learn more. Offer applicable for new customers only. Yeah, well, I think wrestling is kind of, there's like so many elite wrestlers now that have learned submissions, and that extra skill of being able to throw bodies around is another level.
I agree.
Because wrestlers can learn jiu-jitsu pretty easy. Yeah. An elite wrestler, you take a guy like a Bo Nickel or a Daniel Cormier, you teach him jiu-jitsu, they're gonna, Hamza Chimaev's the best example of that. Yeah. You teach a guy like that submissions, he already knows how to ragdoll people. So he has this ability to take everybody down, and then on top of that, he's going to break your neck. Like, it's like that extra skill. I think wrestling is like the foundation. That's the one thing, because then you can dictate whether the fight goes to the ground or stays up. You know? Yes. And then once you learn submissions, which is pretty easy for a wrestler to learn, it's pretty similar.
It's the same sport. I used to wrestle, and it's like the cradle for the pin versus an arm. Right.
Sure. Darts, jokes, all these different things come from similar positions. But then, you have to have stand-up play, because I think, I've been talking about this a lot. I think when you have a fight, and it's 5 rounds, say of a fight, if a guy's mounted on top of a guy at the end of the first round, I think the second round should start with that guy mounted on top of you. I don't think they should start standing up, because it doesn't make any sense. Like, you didn't earn that stand-up. That guy took you down. He got on top of you. He's mounted on you. You're about to get fucked up, and then all of a sudden you have a reprieve from the government. Because the round is over, and now you're standing up again. If you're a striker, that's your world, but you didn't earn that position. Right. It's one fight. It's not 5 fights. It's one fight. Right. So why should you have a beginning of every round where you're standing up?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
If I could change the rules, that's the first rule that I would change. I would say, whatever position you were in the end of the round, that's where you start.
I completely agree with that. And I always feel like that it just fucks shit up. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then, this doing jiu-jitsu, it's like seconds matter. And this fight could turn around in seconds. But those seconds can't happen if we stop this early.
100%.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, the early days were wild, right? Because there was no time.
That's what I watched. The early days is my heyday. Like, I could not get enough. I was, fight dummy for Hoist, for Sakuraba. Who else? Oh, Hoist. So, okay, quick stuff about Hoist. He comes out. We're doing jiu-jitsu. And I'm a new guy. So I'm like, hey, you can share my wall locker, right? And you got a wall locker. And you got, like, your towel because the shower's down the hallway. You know what I mean? Like, I have my clothes, right? And then so Hoist put his family pictures. And I didn't notice this, but they slowly did this. Him and my team re-tagged everything with like my last name and team numbers with Hoist. Right? So they re-tagged all my gear as Hoist, right? They Hoist put his kids' pictures up over mine, right? And one day I'm in my locker, like, is this my locker? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on? And I'm like, whose kids are these? Like, and then Hoist is like, yes, you like my kids? And I'm like, oh, those are your kids? Like, no, this is cool, right? Like, years later, I'm in Iraq, and I'm like, I gotta go for like one of these surges in the Fallujah with another squadron, and like their ops sergeant major calls me by name, and it's like, I've been in Iraq like 30 seconds. You guys are calling me by name. What the fuck, And then he was like, we're getting your stuff. It's on the helicopter. You need to get on this Little Bird. We're leaving in like 20 minutes. And literally, I got on the Little Bird. They bring my kid over. I get my shit on, right? And they're like, yo, whose shit is, hey, Royce? Is there a Royce? Royce? You know what I mean? And then like my bag is one, it's fucking still tagged with places.
That's
like
hilarious.
years.
That's hilarious. So you started training martial arts when you were in the military?
In the unit, yeah.
In the unit. So did they have was it like technical training? Did they teach you? Did they have like real instructors, or how does it work?
Yeah. So in training, when you kind of make it to the unit, there's a hand-to-hand program. A lot of the hand-to-hand program is like traditionally like you gotta cuff people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, which is all which is the foundation for life. Right? But you learn that stuff, like how if you have a weapon, how to like approach somebody, if they grab your weapon, what to do. So it's all like weapon focused, like more like self-defense. But I think back then in my day, right, in the 90s, it was still, bro, come at me like this. You know what I mean? And you're like, why the fuck would I stand like this ever? Like, what the fuck was I doing that got me here? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so it was always back then there was a lot of hocus pocus. So we kind of had our own training program. And then as my years, the training program got better because we started getting started ground fighting, you know. I think the premise for everything I taught in my day when I was a student was like, weapons retention, Japanese wrist lock to get someone cuffed, 2-man cuffing procedures, searching, and then like how to defend yourself if someone grabbed your weapon or if you went to the ground.
Right, which is all stuff you have to know.
Right.
But there wasn't a lot of like just one-on-one.
No, it's like, you're in the gym, they roll out the wrestling mat, and it's like, okay, come at the guy like with your rifle, a bunch of fucking white belts basically, like up your fucking arm.
Was it like was there a system, like a training system?
Yeah.
Was there like
there was a system back then, and the system was really I think kind of four things without really knowing what they did back then. I went through the training, but I don't really know what the hand was back then until later when I was like in the hand program or fighting the guys. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I would say this back then. I'd say it was wrestling. It was Muay Thai, right? It was a little bit of Japanese wrist locks and some Filipino martial arts.
Oh, the
Kali, yeah. We had guys that would do the sticks. I know a little bit of the sticks. Like first time I got smacked 37 fucking times around the head with another guy. This guy with his sticks. It was like, what the fuck was that? Like, how do these sticks move so fucking fast?
These are good, but are very impressive.
Yeah, super impressive. So I think that was really the foundation. Like, and maybe like some, I don't know, dirty boxing I would kind of imagine, you know what I mean? Clinching, punching, stuff like that.
How did the Filipinos develop that stick fight? Where'd that come from? Where they're like one culture is known for their stick fight.
Yeah.
Kind of hot.
Yeah. But hey, I love all that. The stick fighting, whether on TV or whatever, the dirty boxing they do, like all very make your opponent off balance at the same time you can strike. Or if they are trying to strike you, knock them off balance.
I've always been so fascinated how different cultures have a completely different approach to fight. Like the Thais figured out the best way to fight stand-up.
Yeah.
Kick the shit out of the legs.
Yeah. Fucking kick his leg.
Elbow the fuck out of people in the clinch.
Yeah.
Plung, knees, knees to the body, knees to the face. They figured out striking in a way that nobody else had. It's really weird that they did it.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because of the competition all the time and the betting.
Yeah.
Because it's like they were fighting so often and they had so much money on the line for fighting that they developed a very pragmatic way of fighting. Because they were fighting all the time.
Yeah.
As opposed to like karate or any of the other things. I don't think they were really fighting as much.
Well, we don't let me think about America. Like prior to Mike Tyson, boxing was kind of like Americans. If they would have seen like Hickson Gracie, if Hickson Gracie would have been popular in like the 70s or 60s, people would have been like, well, that's not civilized fighting. You know what I mean? Like, get your dukes up. This has got to be fair. You know what I mean? Americans have a very fair sense of what fighting should be. Like Americans hate like dirty fighting, but all Muay Thai and the Kali and all that, that was all seen those guys who come from Asia fight around the states here, fucking kick everyone's ass, and people still win the trial.
Did you ever see? There's one fight that's like one of the most important fights in kickboxing, where Rick Rufus, who is like the king of American-style kickboxing, like the welterweight kickboxing, fought this Thai guy. I forget I can't pronounce the guy's name correctly, so I won't butcher it. But and Rick Rufus was fucking him up in the beginning. Dropped him. He had him in real trouble. Rick Rufus was really good. But this dude was getting chopping at the legs. And by the end of the fight, Rick's in a heap on the ground. And his own brother, Duke Rufus, who became a world Muay Thai champion himself later and became one of the best trainers in MMA. This is the fight. Yeah. Oh, that's his name? Good luck, Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, this is not. This is a different. This is like a compilation of a bunch of different people fighting. That's not. This is the fight that changed kickboxing. So this fight, well, this isn't it. This is a bunch of other shit. Good. Go into the fight itself.
Fucking
Chuck Norris.
I seen Chuck in there.
Chuck was legit. Chuck was very legit. So this is the fight. So in the beginning, Rick Rufus, who's like this above the weight kicks, he drops him with the left hand. Rick was really fucking good. He was really good. But they just didn't know anything about the leg kicks. And after the fight, like his brother Duke was like, well, I don't think there's any skill involved in kicking the legs. And he was saying that, look, he drops him again. So he dropped him 2 times. It looked like Rick is fucking him up. But this Thai guy, he's probably had 200 fights. Yeah. And he just keeps kicking at the legs. And after a while, Rick's legs are just dead. I mean, the Thai guy's getting lit up. But Rick became an unbelievable leg kicker himself after this. But no one knew. They just didn't know. So as the fight goes on, and this is like a huge challenge match. See, he drops him with this leg kick. After a while, Rick just can't move anymore. And this dude,
he ain't even running away well.
No, his legs are dead. And he's just getting, every time this Thai's kicking him, he can barely walk. And at the end of the fight, he winds up in a heap. Because he just doesn't know. He doesn't know yet. And he's getting dumped too. Look at these fucking low kicks. Devastating low kicks. And at the end of the fight, he's just in a heap on the ground.
His kick had no power.
But the thing is, Rick was really fucking good back in the day. So when that didn't show the end of the fight, but at the end of the fight, he brutalized him with just low kicks. The Thais had figured something out that nobody had figured out. And it's kind of shocking that this one area of the world, this one small island, that they figured it out.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. It's just, and then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Until, Maeda comes to Brazil in the 1930s or some shit, whenever that was. And then they go, the Brazilians are like, I can't fix this. Yeah. And they start because Helio was a small guy, and Helio was going, well, what about if we just do it this way? With leverage, instead of using strength, we use technique, and changed everything.
Yeah.
Changed martial arts forever.
Yeah. I love it. I love all of it. Yeah. I'll tell you, that leg kick is my go-to in Iraq and Afghanistan. You know what I mean? I get about this far from you. This is good distance for me. You can't grab my weapons, but what I would do is I'd throw the Thai leg kick, but I wouldn't aim for the middle of the thigh. I don't care about your pain. I'd hit your knee. Either it's going to break your knee or it's going to knock you out of your little fucking slippers. And then I just stand on your neck.
Yeah, it's one of the most effective things to kick away from the face.
Yeah.
And, the crazy thing about MMA is now we're learning that kicking in the calf is actually even more effective than kicking in the thigh. Yeah. Because there's no meat there. Yeah. And you slam a shin into that, and then all of a sudden your foot goes floppy. It doesn't work anymore. Your leg's useless. It's crazy. And we've figured that out over the last 5 or 6 years, which is really nuts. Michael Bisping, who was a world champion, told me he went his whole career without ever getting kicked in the calf. Wow. And that was 4 or 5 years ago, he was a world champion. Yeah. And went his entire career without getting kicked in the calf. Nuts. It's nuts. It's constantly changing and evolving. And people find something that works and they're like, oh, what's up?
I love that it's always evolving too.
Well, martial arts has evolved more in the last 30 years than they have in the last 30,000 years.
I agree.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
And that's kind of shocking. You think about how long people have been fighting.
I don't know. You know, I see this. You know, I shoot every day. I teach people to shoot all over the country all the time, right? And it's kind of interesting to me that I don't think it works like that. You know what I mean? Like you would think people would have been doing this right the whole time, but there's like a lot of myth involved, and it gets watered down over time. I think
Even
a lot
in
of
shooting.
times, even in shooting. What are the myths in shooting? Oh, so fucking many, man. Like, do we got the time? I fucking shred this shit. The NRA, I speak at the NRA shows. Like, the NRA hires me, and I speak at the NRA show this year. I actually got roofied in fucking Dallas at the NRA show. Yeah, no shit. You know who did it? So this is crazy, right? Okay, I have an assistant, right? I don't know. She's like 30, blonde girl, pretty girl. Her and her husband are with me, and I'm with like the surefire representative. Like, yo, sorry, we got you roofied, by the way. And then like some other guys, right? And we get done with the show, and we just go have a drink or two, and we're going into like the hotel restaurant to eat my steak dinner. You know what I mean? So we get a round of drinks, and it was like well old fashioned. Is what it was, well old fashioned. And my assistant's like, I sit next to her. She's like, I just can't drink anymore. You know what I mean? Like, these are horrible old fashions. I just can't drink these anymore. It's like, hey, we'll be at dinner in a minute. They got good booze at the good restaurant. Get anything out, right? So she's like, okay. So I was like, here, I'll take it. So I held my cup up, and then I kind of held my cup up. The surefire guy, her husband, and she kind of fills us all up equally. And so somebody was trying to move her, right? So yeah, this isn't Dallas, right? So okay, so we go to dinner. I don't know, I get this Wagyu burger. It's fucking delicious. I'm kind of buzzed. I'm drinking good whiskey. You know what I mean? We're having a good time. I love good food, right? So I'm having a great time. Her husband's at the end of the table. And all of a sudden, this is like within 45 minutes of that drink, which I also didn't know, right? So his head hits the table, and I look at him, and I'm like, is he okay? And then hey, you know how you know them blow up pools where you pull down the side of the water, just kind of glides over the top. His mouth opens, and it was just like across the table. You know what I mean? And I was like, I pushed away from the table, like, so it didn't leak on me. And I was like, we gotta go. You know what I mean? It's time to leave. You know what I mean? I'll get the check by the front door or something. You know what I mean? But
right.
We definitely. It's time.
And you weren't feeling it yet?
No, I wasn't. I didn't feel anything. Right? So, okay. So it was like I've never seen this happen to this guy ever. Right? So this isn't him. Like, so it's kind of weird, right? So my assistant's like, hey, I'll take him up to the room. I was like, okay, well, we're going to go have a few more drinks at the bar, right? So me and the other guy go to the bar. She goes up to her room, right? I don't know any of this is happening, but as soon as I get to the room, the head of security's knocking on the door. So my assistant answers, and then I guess the guy was like, is there a guy that's in the restaurant here? And she's like, he's in the bathtub naked. Like, and then the head of security, like, hey, we watched the tapes, ton of info. Right? So I don't know who did it. I think so, but and then did it tell you? No. They talked to my assistant and then her husband, right? So I go down to the bar, right? I put my credit card on the bar, and I fucking party till all hours of the night. What did I learn? If you roofie me, you're gonna wait 6 hours to get that booty, because once you give me drugs, I want to party, baby. You know what I mean? So I'm out. I don't know what the fuck the surefire guy fucking peters out on me. I'm probably just in the lobby alone, it's fucked up. I don't know.
Do you know what was in it?
No.
It was just something. It wouldn't necessarily roofenol.
Yeah.
Probably something.
I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
So the next day we check out, right? Show's over, we check out. So my assistant's knocking on my door, right? And I'm a get up early guy. I do my cardio. So I'm normally up early, and she knocks on my door, right? So I answer my door, and I'm like, thinking, what the fuck is she doing here so early, right? Both of them, her and her husband. And she's like, I'm glad you're okay. And I'm like, what? You know what I mean? And she's like, what? She's looking at me. She's like, not you too. And I'm like, me too, what? You know what I mean? I'm kind of foggy, right? It was like it was checkout. It was after checkout time. I slept till like fucking 1 in the afternoon the next day. I had the worst fucking hangover ever. Like, if that was roofies do, the hangover, I understand why people don't do them recreational. You know what I mean? Like, I had the worst fucking hangover. So she's like,
Did anybody get tested to find out what it is?
mm-mm. No, they had to fly home that afternoon. They got me in my Sprinter van. I had to go do a class like somewhere else out on the fucking road. So like, she got me. They drove me to breakfast, got me something to eat, kind of sobered me up a little bit, right? And then they went to the airport, dropped me off, and I drove somewhere else in Texas. I was working here. And then the head of security talked to her and her husband, called them a couple days later, check on them, make sure they were okay. But long story short is we had a round of drinks that none of us ordered come to our table. And they came to our table from the same waitress that we had. You know what I mean? So somehow we got a round of drinks, and we even paid for them. And when I got the bill, like, I don't know, we had 2 drinks, and we were getting ready to go. And the third one came, and I just figured someone ordered it. You know what I mean? It'll be fine. And then I just paid for it all. I did not even pay for it.
And so, did the security know who roofied you?
I think so.
And they didn't tell you?
I think they told my sister.
You didn't ask her?
No. I think,
Yeah.
I think it was like a targeted thing where they just fucking rob you.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think, I mean, first and foremost, I think everyone's trying to get burgle booty holes in this day and age, and you got to keep yours safe. So there's that, right? But I also think, like, I think it was like they know all these people are in for these conventions, so they try to drug somebody and just fucking, you could have just I'd have handed you my wallet. You know what I mean? There's not a crime.
They handed to a buddy of mine.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he met this girl, and we go back to his place, and then he wakes up the next day, and he's robbed. Stole his Rolex, stole $25,000 in cash, but he got tested. And he had, I think it was Xanax. She piled a bunch of Xanax into his drink, and he was just out. Didn't know what the fuck happened. Came to the club afterwards. He was like all fucked up. Came to the comedy club. He's a comedian, Hans Kim. Shout out to Hans. Hilarious guy. So he's like, something happened. I don't know what happened. We were like, hey man, go get tested right now while it's still in your system. So he goes and gets his hair tested. They found that there's roofies in it.
Damn. I didn't even know you could be tested.
Yeah, you can be tested. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
There's like a time period. If you test hair, it'll like last a little longer. I think he waited a day, so they had to test hair. But within a certain time period, they could test you to find out what it is. And they said, did you take any Xanax? He's like, no. I'm like, yeah, well, Xanax. And apparently that's one of the things that they give people to rob them.
Dang. Does it cause a hangover?
I'm sure. It's got to.
Look, if you're going to drug me,
it's going to whack you out.
If you're going to rob me, like, I just want to say this to the world. If you're going to fucking rob me, like, give me the non-hangover shit. You're getting my shit anyway.
What is the non-hangover shit?
I don't know. Whatever that shit is. You know more about drugs than me. I was in the army my whole life.
I don't think it exists.
Damn it, Joe.
I think it's prescription stuff or GHB. I know a lot of people give people GHB.
I've heard of that.
That just gives you, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I've heard of people get roofied that way. If I was a woman, I'd be fucking terrified to accept a drink from anybody.
Fuck.
Dudes I've talked to so many ladies that have had their alcohol drugged by someone. Women go to bars, they keep their fucking hand over their drink all the time, even when they're turning around and looking away, because they just never know. Some guy just drop something in there real quick. Next thing you know, you're going home with them. You don't even know where you are.
I had a buddy. He doesn't even drink. Like, someone convinced him to have a glass of wine in small town North Carolina, and like the cops pulled him over, like, you know, not far down the road, and he was like, I don't know what's going on, but I can't feel my hands. You know what I mean? Like, and he's like, he's just a regular guy, you know. And they brought him back to the station, and someone had put, I think it was a little bit of fentanyl or something in the wine. Like, he left and he said he felt fine, and he was driving. He said, like, I don't feel right, even though, like, he had one glass of wine. Like, he doesn't even drink. You know, I don't even know why he had a glass of wine. Someone probably talking to him. You know, he probably didn't even finish it, but he's like, he said he was lucky. He felt like fucking people out there. I'm telling you, that's one of the things I want to talk about today is, like, there's fucking real evil in the world. And in Iraq, we're in Afghanistan, you go into these fucked up places where they've been like, I don't know, fucking raping, beheading people, fucking
Forever.
tribal shit forever. Like there was buildings I didn't even want to fucking go in. Like you'd go and you'd be like, every fucking hair on my body just be standing up. When I'm at the doorway, I'd be like, I don't even want to clear this fucking building. You know what I mean? And I don't know fucking why, but I know there's fucking old evil.
Evil's real.
It's fucking real.
And if you've never experienced it, you can walk around delusional, think, oh, come on.
It's real. You
It's
can
real.
feel it. Like when I'm around real evil shit, only two places I felt real evil shit in my life. There's Gettysburg and fucking in Iraq.
Gettysburg.
Yeah, I felt that. Like I did because I felt evil before, and it like makes me want to throw up. It hurts my stomach.
In the area of Gettysburg.
Yeah,
My
on the battlefield.
stepfather felt the same thing. And he's not woo-woo at all. He's like a real straight-edge guy.
Fuck, man.
And he said it felt so creepy.
I was almost gonna. Me and my son were out there ghost hunting, and we were both gonna throw up. And I didn't tell him, but like I had felt that feeling
It's
before.
crazy you said that about Gettysburg because my stepdad's never said anything before. And he said just the feeling was so sad and creepy, and you just wanted to get out of there immediately.
It makes me want to throw up.
I think places have memory. I really believe that.
Well, I think it's energy, and I don't think
Yeah.
it can be created or fucking. You can talk to science guys, right? Energy don't go away, right?
Well, I think you just don't see it and you can't measure it, so you assume it's not there. But I think that's one of the reasons why when someone gets murdered in a house, they have to tell you about it.
Right?
They have to. Because, like, people, they know. Like, there was John Benet Ramsey's house. When I lived in Boulder for a while, we were looking at houses to buy. And there was this one house. It was, like, really cheap for the house. It was a nice fucking house. They had changed the name of the street so they could try to sell this house. Because everybody knew that it was the house that John Benet Ramsey had killed him. They couldn't fucking sell the house. So we were looking, we were looking at the house on like, Zillow. And like, oh, it's a beautiful house. Maybe we should go check out this house. And then we found out, we're like, oh, that's why they can't sell it. Oh man, like they changed the name of the street to try to sell this house. Yeah, they should have bulldozed it. And then, what do you do about the ground? It's still there. Would you want to live in a place where they bulldoze the house for a little girl getting killed? Fuck that.
Not even joking.
No, I don't want to. No one wants to. I don't even know what it is now. I mean, I don't know if anybody would want it.
Yeah. I grew up in old houses in the Chicago area, you know what I mean? And like some of them houses were creepy for no reason, and some weren't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. There's something to that.
But hey, I was in Iraq, and I was in one of them, like, you know, Uday and Kusai, fucking raped people. Them guys are evil.
You went to their palace, that kind of shit.
I carried their bodies off an airplane and had to guard them until they got cleaned up by the border people. Them fucking guys, them houses, they would read. They didn't give them the lions. We found them fucking who they had lions, and the lions were. It's not fun. The lions were like the army side, the big army side, and we were inside the side, right? And then the lions were like just lazy as fuck, didn't care about no army guys. And then one day I see the median kids walk by and they're just behind cheating. And the fucking lions and nuts, and I knew like the only thing that fuck you, they were fucking evil.
I heard so many horrible stories about those guys. They would find a woman who was getting married, and they would rape her and then feed her to their dogs.
Yeah. Or the fucking carp outside the palaces, you know, them big lakes full of these giant carpsages running in bodies like you do. Yeah. So I was down in one of those one night just because like I couldn't do. I had my flashlight. Always been fascinated by the way. So I'm down there by myself just exploring, you know what I mean? And like fucking doors slammed on me, you know what I mean? I was freaked the fuck out. And I'm the only one down there, you know what I mean? Like freaking me the fuck out. And the energy down in those fucking like rape rooms or whatever, I don't know what you call it. Like did fucking bad shit. It's just like, I don't know, like it like, you never ride like a roller coaster that like, turns your stomach. That's how it feels to me. I don't know, but it makes me also throw up. And the stronger it is, the more I feel like but yeah, it's just so crazy that story repeats itself over and over again. Like the sons of kings, they grow up that way. Growers are just super fucking evil because they have unchecked power from the gender of a child. Yeah. I gotta be honest. If I could clone myself and I had like a mini me right now, I would abuse him just to make sure he grows up right. I would raise him right. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. And when I say abuse him, I mean like force him to work hard. Yeah, fucking earn his shit his whole fucking life. I mean, like, I had a guy, like, I had a, you don't know what he was. I was in the Middle East, and one of the guys asked me, like, are American babies stupid? And I'm like, what? And he's like, are American babies stupid? And I'm like, why? And he's like, well, in America, like, there would be a fence at the edge of the cliff so the baby can't go over. In my country, like, the baby knows, don't go by the cliff. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, what the fuck?
Well, I bet they don't. I bet the babies that don't know go off the cliff, and those genes never propagate.
Again.
Yeah. That's the most harsh form of natural selection. The most harsh form of it. Yeah. You know, fucking. I mean, kids that grow up outside, lock-key kids. Like when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You just get left out of the house. Bye. Have fun. And you figure out who's the child molester. You figure out who's a creep, what's dangerous. Don't go near the train tracks. You can't near the train till it's too late.
Stay away from
you hear about the kid that gets hit. Yeah.
At the liquor store.
Exactly.
Yeah. I did the same thing.
You learn about danger.
Yeah. I tell you, I got my first key. I was 6. I fucking lost it like the same day. My mom's yelling at me, and she's like, you know, what do you got to say for yourself? I was like, I still remember, it's like one of my oldest memories. It's like, I'm 6. Yeah. And she was just kind of like, yeah, I'm 6. Like, I had it one fucking day. Like, I never carried a key in my life. Like, of course I'm going to fuck this up. You know, she was like, we can't afford all these keys. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, I'm fucking 6. You know? So we ended up having to hide it somewhere. You know, because my brother wasn't good at fucking keys either. Like,
you know, it's fucked up that I don't want that to happen to my kids. Like, I don't want my life was nothing like your life, but I was definitely like let loose in the world, you know, not really given any guidance.
Kind of let loose with no guidance.
But that's how you make a person like you. Like, a person like you doesn't come from a home that has, like, you know, you're coddled, you're taken care of, you're always protected. Yeah. Like, the only way you make, like, a legit beast of a man is that man has to go through a lot of shit in their life, and then they come out on the other end hard.
Right.
It's the only way.
Right.
You don't, you know, I've never met, like, a world champion fighter that came from, like, the happiest of childhoods. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of unit and special forces or ranger guys, like, I used to call it the fatherless. You know what I mean? And it works kind of 2 ways. Either you had a dad, but he worked and he came home and he passed out and he woke up and he was gone before you got up. And when you got home, he was asleep on the couch or already out for the night because he fucking works fucking a lot of hours. Or you kind of just didn't have a dad. You know what I mean?
Right.
Those people make special forces soldiers. Just like, you know, dad issues for a chick or put her on a pole. The same issues in a dude puts him in special forces. Yeah. And I'll take the fatherless all day long.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, those are the world champions. I mean, that's Mike Tyson, right? You know, he's 13 years old, no family.
Yeah.
Gets adopted by a guy who's a psychologist, who's, you know, a hypnotist.
Yeah.
And is a great boxing coach who teaches him to become this elite fighter. And I kind of think that you don't become that guy unless you're dealing with all sorts of unspeakable tragedy and horrors when you're a child.
Well, you wouldn't have that kind of focus without that.
Right. You wouldn't have that monster inside. Like, you have to, that monster has to grow because it needs to be there. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, like, I don't know what the ratio is, but I would say, like, 1 out of every fucking 100 or 300 is, like, the fucking high school quarterback who married the fucking prom kid.
Very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare.
I think I only knew one of those.
Yeah, and those guys, I bet if you dig into their childhood, their dad was probably a little abusive.
Yeah, or their mom.
Or brother.
Yeah, something.
There's another thing, it's older brothers. It's like you want to find the young brother. The young brother's the beast.
I'm the little brother.
That's it. The young brother gets beat up by the older brother and just constantly in battle his whole life. Like so many fighters, the best fighters have like Chris Weidman's got a great story like that.
Well, I mean, think about this. If you had to fight your bigger brother off your whole life, you would be good at jiu-jitsu, right? Because you understand leverage, you understand patience, wait for the move, take some punishment, move later, you know the deal.
You're
right?
also accustomed to being in battle all the time with your brother.
Right.
Yeah.
Hickson was a little brother to Holmes.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, and Ori. Yeah, Hickson is he's such a unique guy because he was like the first guy that figured out like that physical strength, yoga, all the gymnastic, natural stuff that he did, flexibility. Like, he was like a physical specimen on top of being super technical. So he had like both things.
He had way before people.
Way before.
Like he knew the winning mindset and how to keep that mental edge with all the other things. And the fighting was just something that he grew up to do, I think.
He had that samurai mindset.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I think I talk to a lot of people. I know some legendary guys from there, right? When he talks, it's like this weird time vortex. You ever talk to him?
Yeah, I've had a couple of podcasts with him.
It's incredible.
I went over his house once in like 2000, and him and his son, and we were watching Coliseum. So Coliseum was like the last time he fought when he fought Funaki, and we were watching all the different fights. He had a paper that we were watching it, and he was breaking down all the things that all these guys were doing wrong. It was such a fascinating education.
Yeah.
He was like, "There's too much space. We start here. There's too much space." And he goes, he had this
good accent.
He goes, "We started in neutral point. We started in neutral point. If I get to 1, I'm not going back to 0. I'm going 1 to 2 to 3 to checkmate." He goes, "I'm not going back." He goes, "These guys, they lose position. They go for here, go for there, all this extra space." And he was like breaking it down while we were watching the fights. It was such an education.
Love that.
Oh, it was fucking amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Oh man, like one of the great legends of martial arts. You know, if you like go into the history of martial arts, Hickson Gracie will go down as, you know, if there's a Mount Rushmore of martial arts legends, him and Hoist are right up there.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And Hoist will tell you, like Hickson, he goes, "My brother's 100 times better than me."
Yeah. Well, when Hoist used to come to us, he would tell us straight up, "I'm not the fan of the fighter."
Yeah.
And I think what he told us back then was like, Hickson was pride contracts. UFC was different. Couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
That's why Hoist even fought, right? I thought that was kind of the deal back then.
Well, I think
it was a long time ago.
There was a bunch of different thoughts on it. You know, Hoist jokes around. He goes, "Look how beautiful I am. That's why they wanted me." But it was also because Hickson was very physically dominant. And the idea was like, let's have this guy that doesn't look physically impressive to show jiu-jitsu, to show the power of jiu-jitsu. But if that doesn't work, then we bring in Hickson. But obviously, Hoist beat everybody. And then Hickson went over to the Japan Valley Tudo in like 94, I think it was.
I used to love the Valley Tudo's pride. I thought that was the best.
Oh, the golden era of martial arts was when everybody was learning.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, there's so much out there.
Yeah, I agree.
And then Fedor Emelianenko comes on the scene. It's just like,
Fedor is my favorite.
One of the all-time greats. There's another one. I mean, if there's a greatest heavyweight of all time, he's got to be in the conversation.
I feel like back in the day, like, we'd be talking about fighting, and we'd be like, "Man, I wonder if anyone's ever like done this from like the mount." Yeah, Fedor won like 6 fights like that, and then like, I wonder if anyone's ever done like something like this, and like, well, Fedor won his last fight just like that, and you're just like, "Fucking this guy!" Like,
in his prime, he was a monster.
Yeah, I agree.
And so stoic. Like his expression never changed.
Yeah.
He gets head kicked, he gets suplexed, nothing.
It's like no one's home.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
just didn't register. Just a machine.
Yeah, I loved him, man. I like when he I seen an interview one time. Remember his brother Alexander? Sure. He was like, Alexander was better than me if he just wouldn't party so much.
Yeah, he was an animal.
And I was just thinking, fucking Fedor saying his brother's better than him. You know what I mean?
Well, his brother was bigger and taller, and was a nasty striker. Yeah. His brother was a vicious striker.
Had good kicks too.
Oh my god, he was fucking good. But that was the days where everyone was just kind of figuring out what worked and what didn't work.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was also a time where everybody was juicy.
Yeah.
The whole organization was like, I had a friend who was going to fight over there, and he was 170 pounds, and they said, no, we want you to fight at 185. Go do steroids. Like, go do steroids. He's like, they tell us to do steroids. When Ensign was on the podcast, he told me in the contract, it said, like, in capital letters, we do not test for steroids. We're like, go have fight.
Come back.
Come back juicy.
Yeah.
Everybody was juicy back then. Because it was the wild days. It was like the Wild West. They just wanted the best, most exciting fights possible.
I think that's what people want now.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's a real argument for that.
I don't think the fans give a fuck about drug testing.
No.
I don't think, look, and I think this is for like the Olympics. I get it, but the NFL, the sport to suck.
Like baseball. That was the thing when they were doing like Mark McGuire and all that shit.
Yeah.
Sammy Sosa.
Yeah.
Why you test these guys? It's the most exciting thing is to hit a home run. These guys are doing something that makes them better at hitting home runs. Everybody should do that thing. Whatever the fuck that is.
Think about how much more money that brings those organizations.
Yeah, but there was this thing back then that it was cheating. But what it really is science. Like, they figure out there's a way where you recover more, you get stronger, you get faster. Like, hey, do that, guys. But by the way, everybody else is doing it too. They're just, like, hiding it in some sort of a weird way. They're just masking it and taking weird stuff. And you ever seen that Balco scandal where they're all taking stuff called the clear?
I never even heard of that.
You never heard of that?
No, I
had that guy, Victor Conte, on the podcast who created the clear. And what he's a scientist. And what he did is Balco Labs, they figured out that when they're testing for very specific metabolites. So they took steroids and then they changed it slightly so that it didn't show up in the test. And they're giving them this stuff, and they would all pass clear. And they were all fucking just monsters like Barry Bonds. He was a monster. I met Barry Bonds in 1994. I was on this television show called Hardball. And Barry Bonds was, he was still a major league player, a big time player. But he was a regular guy. Like, he looked like a regular athlete. And then he started getting juicy. And years later, he gained like 2 pounds, just fucking smashing home runs. Like, that would be good. Like, you should keep doing that, whatever you're doing.
I think that's all sports. Jump as high as you can. Take your fucking gear, jump high, run far, smash each other. Let's go.
Well, that's the enhanced games. You have the enhanced games doing that. They're developing this whole protocol right now. And the enhanced game is going to let people do whatever the fuck they want that works. And their idea is, we are going to develop the best athletes in every discipline. And then we're going to give them a lot of money. And we're going to, fuck the Olympics. The Olympics is a giant scam. Because the Olympics, the athletes don't make any money. And NBC and all these broadcast networks and the IOC, they're making billions of dollars off the backs of these athletes' hard work. And no one is going to see them. They're going to see the athletes.
Right.
The athletes aren't even compensated. It's a crazy scam. It really is. Because it's not like, if no one made any money, including the networks, including the IOC, great. Right. But that's not the case.
Yeah.
Someone's making a fucking shit ton of money, but it's not the people that are putting in the hard work. It's the people that are pointing cameras at them.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest fucking thing of all time. So the enhanced games is like, let's throw out the drug testing. Let's encourage people to do whatever the fuck that works, and let's give them a lot of money. So whoever wins, whatever they do, we give them $1 million.
Yeah.
And then you get the elite athletes will be like, well, why am I wasting my time competing for free? Maybe I blow out an ACL or herniate a disc and my career's over and I don't have shit to show for it. Or I can do steroids and then win and have money for the rest of my life.
Yeah. I want to watch the steroids.
Of course.
You know what I mean? The enhanced league or whatever it's called, that sounds to me like the NFL is going away. I want to see the mountain hit another mountain. You know what I mean? Let's go.
They told the NFL, it's just everybody get juicy.
Those guys are already freaks. They're already doing it. Like,
Probably.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't imagine. I don't know. But my 2 cents is like, you're doing it anyway. Just fucking go with it.
The way I understand
Just
it
don't
is
talk
they
about
let them know when testing is happening. And so then
Why even waste the fucking money? You know what I mean? Like, phone it in. Let's just phone that in. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I took that drug test. Okay, click, save some money for
the
it.
drug test should be multiple choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fill it out. Yeah. The drug test should be, we're just kind of curious if you've had any success. Or we want to know what works so we can recommend better stuff to people.
Right. But there's this weird thing about, protecting the athlete's health. Like, hey, fuckface, they're playing football. If you really cared about their health, you'd tell them don't play football. So there's no way you care about their health.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, there's inherent natures of danger. Concussions, knees,
Yeah.
shoulders,
Right.
right?
Everything gets blown out.
Yeah.
How about vaccines? How about you making them get vaccinated and have fucking heart attacks on the field? Does that make any sense? No. You don't care about their health. You're full of shit.
Yeah.
Those guys didn't have to worry for a second about COVID. They're elite athletes of the highest order. You really think that something that is literally only kills like 0.03% of the people who get it, and those people most of them have comorbidities?